places around the town, focusing on identifying key locations.
Before you can even ask a local for directions, you kind of need to know what to call the places you're looking for, right? So, imagine you're standing right at that "You Are Here" spot on High Street. All around you are the standard building blocks of a typical town. Building a mental map like this in your head, paired with the right vocabulary, is going to be a massive lifesaver when you're actually out there exploring.
Let's break down a few of these essential spots so you know exactly what you can do at each one. First up, you've got your transit hubs, the railway station or the bus station. Obviously, that's where your trip starts or ends. Now, what if you need local currency? Well, you'll track down a bank to change money or grab some bills from a cash machine. If you're looking to do some shopping, you'd head over to the shopping center, which is just a big area packed with different stores. Lost? No worries at all. The Tourist Information Office is going to be your best friend. For a bit of culture or to look at interesting old things, you'd find a museum. And finally, there's the town hall, which is simply where the local government operates.
Now here's a specific phrase you will absolutely want to know when you're walking around: the pedestrian area. A pedestrian area is simply a part of town where you can only walk. No cars allowed whatsoever. This is super useful to spot because it means you can safely stroll around and take in the sights without constantly checking over your shoulder for traffic. Okay, moving on to Section 2, reading town notices, where we'll decode those everyday municipal signs you'll see everywhere. So, you know the buildings, but the streets are actually covered in visual rules. Imagine walking up to a cash machine, or maybe a ticket machine at the train station, and you see a bright yellow sign saying "out of order." Basically, this just means the machine is broken. Don't try to use it. Definitely don't put your credit card in there because it is simply out of action for now. Next up is one you've probably seen a million times, especially indoors at a shopping center or a museum. It's the classic red circle with a line through a cigarette, meaning no smoking. It's a totally universal symbol for sure, but knowing the English phrase confirms exactly where you are absolutely not allowed to light up. Now, this next one is actually kind of funny when you think about the tone. It says, "Please keep off the grass." It's very polite, right? It literally says please. But make no mistake, it is a firm rule. You'll spot these little green signs in parks or outside the town hall. It's just a gentle but strict reminder from the local authorities to stay on the paved path and protect the landscaping. And of course, we have two absolute lifesavers when you're navigating a huge crowded place. Entrance, that's your way in, and exit, your way out. Whether you're trying to get into a massive shopping center or just trying to find the quickest way out of a busy railway station, zeroing in on these two specific words is an absolute must. All right, let's switch gears to Section 3, asking for directions. This is where we actually start communicating with the locals. So what happens when you just can't find what you're looking for? Hey, it happens to all of us. Imagine you want to hit the museum, but you're completely turned around. You walk up to a friendly-looking local and say, "Excuse me, I'm looking for the museum." That "excuse me" at the start is absolutely crucial. It's the perfect, polite way to grab a stranger's attention before you drop your question. There are actually a couple of different ways you can ask for help here. You could say, "Where's the bus station?" That's perfect if you're just asking for a general location, usually for something pretty close by. But if you say, "How do I get to Market Street?" That's a bit more proactive. You aren't just asking where it is, you're asking for the actual step-by-step route to get from where you're standing right now all the way over to that street.
Which brings us to Section 4, following the directions and successfully reaching your destination.
Because asking the question is really only half the battle, right? When someone actually answers you, they're typically going to give you directions in sequential steps. They might say, "Go left here," then take the first right, then take the second left. And I love this because it shows exactly how English speakers chunk routing information. They use ordinal numbers, first, second, third, to count the intersecting streets. That way, you know exactly which road to turn down. Once you've made all those turns, they'll usually give you a phrase to pinpoint the exact building. They might say it's at the end of the road, which literally means you just keep walking until you can't anymore. Or they'll tell you it's on the left or on the right. Sometimes it's on the other side of the road, meaning you gotta cross the street. And hey, if it's too far to walk, they might just say, "Take the number 31 bus and get off at the second stop." These positional phrases are the final puzzle pieces that guide you right to the front door. Well, we've covered a ton of great ground in this explainer today. So I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge to test out your new skills. Think back to that town layout we were looking at earlier. Imagine you are standing right outside the Tourist Information Office. How exactly do you get from there to the shopping center? Think about the vocabulary we just went over.
Would you go left out of the office? Which street would you take the first or second turn onto? Try mapping that route out in your head right now. Mastering this little mental exercise means the very next time you step into an unfamiliar town, you're going to be navigating it like an absolute pro. Keep learning, keep exploring, and thanks so much for joining me.